Hello everyone, welcome to Mifratech. Today in this section we will continue with our Python course. So we are going to cover the following concept in this section. First we will see what are the different Python functions, and next we will discuss about Python classes and objects. At last we will see the different file handling operations in Python. So let's start our discussion with Python functions. What is a function? A function is nothing but in order to like a set of statements or a block of statements which will do exact some predefined operations, that is functions. So we can call it recursively as like we can mainly like for reuse purpose will use functions only. So there are different types of functions available in Python. So functions mainly manages inputs and output in computer programs, as I told, and like mainly they will work on data and functions. Any programming language mainly will work on data and functions only, like in order to effectively manage and transform the data. As I told earlier, functions are nothing but a task which our user want to perform. So there are different types of functions available in Python. So we'll see what are the different types of functions are there in Python. So these are the four different types of functions available in Python. First one is the Python built-in functions. So we have inbuilt functions in Python. So next we will see Python recursion functions and Python lambda functions and Python user defined functions. So we will discuss in detail all these Python functions. So first we will deal about Python built-in functions. So a Python programming language, it has a standard library which has some inbuilt function in it. So just we can, by calling those functions, we can perform some operations. So those are nothing but built-in functions in Python. So they are already like available, they are already in built-in, and we have to like use that in the program. And those are nothing but built-in functions. For example, if you take print, like in order to print an output, we are making use of printf function. That is also an inbuilt function. In order to take input, we are making use of input of something. That is also an inbuilt functions. So let's see some of the example for built-in functions. So there is a inbuilt function called ABS, that is the absolute value. So what it will do means it will give output of like output as the absolute value of any given number. Like for example, the simple syntax for this is the ABS of inside we have to give any number. So it will give the output as the absolute value of that given number. So the parameter we can give is as an integer, a floating, complex value, negative value. You can give any parameter inside this ABS function. So we'll see with the example. As you can see, I have given integer is equal to minus 20. So here I have stored a negative value in this integer. In order to find the absolute value of this integer variable, I am making use of ABS of integer, as you can see. So if I do execute this command, my final output will be like absolute value of minus 20 is 20. So I am not going to get output as a plus 20, like a minus 20. My output will be like plus 20 because it will give only the absolute integer value, without any sign. It will give output as 20. So to find, like in order to find the absolute value, we can make use of the inbuilt function ABS. So you can also give a floating value. So here in this example I have taken floating is equal to minus 30.33. If I do ABS of this floating, my output will be 30.33. that's it. As you can see, absolute value of 20 is 20, absolute value of minus 30.33 is 30.33. So you can get absolute value of any number using this ABS inbuilt function. There is a one more function called all. What it will do is it will check when all the elements in a given iterable are true, like in a list, or if I consider any tuple, a list, a dictionary, it will check whether all are true or not. If all are true means it will give output as true, or else it will give as false. So the syntax for this, all of inside you have to give a iterable, like a dictionary, a tuple, or a list, anything. That is the syntax of this all. So as I told, the parameters mainly like iterable as nothing but a list, tuple, dictionary, etc. We'll see with an example. So in this example, first example I have taken I is equal to 1, 3, 4, 5. So I have created a list. Inside I have elements 1, 3, 4, 5. So if I do a print all of 5 means, so what all of 5 will do means it will check every element whether 1 is a true, 3 is a true, means 0 means false. So like other than the 0 will be true. All the elements will be taken as 0 generally. So it will check 1, 3, 4, 5 all are true. So my final output will be true only after checking everything. So if I want to get a false means, like in this I have in next example I have taken one more list. Here you can see list elements are 0 and false. So it will check print all of 5. As you can see 0 itself is a false and false is also false. So my final output will be also false. Then as you can see in the list, if all the all the elements are also true and any one element is false also, we are going to get output as false. As you can see in this example I have taken I is equal to 1340. So as you can see 134 all are true, but 0 is a false. So while print of all of I, it will check all are true. So see here as you can see there is a 1 is 0, that is false. So if any one is false also, my output will be false only. So this is how it will, you can check true or false using this all in any iterable like list, dictionary and tuple. So if one true value, as I told earlier, if as you can see this is 0 false, in this list I have 5. So these two are false only 5 is true. Even if you have one true value also, my output will be false only. So what happens if we do this with an empty iterable? Like here I have created an empty list, I is equal to an empty list, I have print all of I. So when we do this iterable using this all built-in function, for empty list I am going to get output as true only. So there is one more inbuilt function, that is bin. What this bin will means, it will convert any number into a binary equivalent of that number, which will given as a parameter. So if the parameter is not an integer, it has to implement underscore index function method to return to an integer. As I told, if we are given any string value means it will first it will convert into integer value, after that it will convert into a binary number. The syntax for this is syntax a bin of number. We have to give a number as a parameter. So let's see some of the example for this. So as I told, the parameter mainly it will take number, as I told, which is an integer whole number. So it will binary value, it will give us as output. If not an integer, that underscore index of underscore function, it will return an integer. We have to use this function in order to convert a string into an integer. Example, I can see number I have taken 5. So I am printing now binary equivalent of 5 is bin of number. So this bin of number, what it will do means, this function will convert the 5 equivalent binary value and print it in the output. As you can see, my final output will be the binary equivalent of 5 is, as a binary, to indicate a binary value you have 0b and 101. So this is the binary value of 5. So there is one more inbuilt function called sum. What it will do is it will return the sum of any given sequence. So the simple syntax for this sum of, we have to give a sum of a sequence like a list, tuple or anything iterable, and we have to give the start. So it is it is not mandatory. Iterable means, as I told, a list, tuple, dictionary whose sum to be found. Start is optional, as I told. So this value is like in order to sum items of iterable, like the default value. Start means from the list, if you want only the required, if you want to start from your iteration from which value means that specific index value you can mention. If you don't mention also, it will start from 0 by default. So we don't generally use that. So we'll see with example. As you can see in this example, I have taken numbers is equal to some 3 list values 2.5, 3, 4, minus 5. Like if I do a number sum, like sum of these numbers, I have given this list as a parameter to this sum of inbuilt function. So I have stored my output in numbers sum. So what it will do is it will just add all these elements like 2.5 plus 3 plus 4 minus 5. So the total value of that, if I print number of sum, my final output will be like, I am going to get output as 4.5. As you can see, 3 plus 4 is 7, 7 minus like 7 plus again 2.5, it is 9.5. I mean 9.5, if I do minus 5, my output will be 4.5. So this is how it will automatically add the sum of any iterable, list, tuple, dictionary, anything. So in this same, we can also mention the start. As I told, like a number sum of, here sum of numbers I have taken, I have given a start is equal to 10. So it will startingly it will you can, if you want to add any for a list, if there is an element, so you can make sum of that, and if you want to add extra value for that also, you can make using the start option. So sum of numbers of 10 I have given. If I print this, as you can see, my final earlier sum was 4.5. For that I have added starting at 10. So my final output will be 14.5. This is how this sum of inbuilt function will work. Those are the inbuilt functions which are already available in Python. Just we have to call them and use it. That's it. There is one more function called Python recursive function. What is recursive means? If like a particular function calling itself in the same function means that is a recursive. Like we can make use of this recursive function. You will find out in different operations. We'll generally will use for finding out a factorial of a function or checking a prime number. In different operation we can make use of these recursive functions. Like it will reduce the code, it will reduce the number of lines required for a code by using this recursion. So we'll see with an example. As I told, generally we used to find a factorial of a number. So I have taken factorial example only. As you can tell, I have created a function. So in order to create a function, we have to use a def. This is in order to create user defined function. So def of, I have given a function name as cals underscore factorial of. So the parameter for this is x I have taken. When taking each element, here first I am checking whether that x is equal to 1. When the taken input that is equal to 1 means I am giving my output returning 1 as the output. That is the factorial of that number. If it is because factorial of 1 is 1 only. Otherwise, if the condition fails, I am checking like returning x into, so the number into, again I am calling this cals underscore factorial of x minus. As you can see, I have called the same function within the same function only. So that is nothing but a recursive function. So here I have given, as I told, to in the generally how to find factorial of a number means we will do multiplication, like 5 factorial means 5 into 4 into 3 into, like we will multiply the number with reducing one value of it. The similar way, as you can see, 1 into, like it will do, if it is I have given input as 2 means 2 into, it will give 2 minus 1 1, like 2 into 1, like that it will find out factorial of a number. So this is the like user defined function. So we have to give input for that. So here I have taken num is equal to 4. So I have to call that user defined function, a recursive user defined function. So print the factorial of a number. I am printing this factorial of a num is, I am calling the function cals underscore factorial. I am giving input as that number 4. So 4 will be given as the input. Whenever I call this, the 4 will be taken into x. So now my x value is 4. Now it will first check 4 is equal to 1. As a condition fails, it will go to else. Then it will return 4 into cals underscore 4 minus 1 3. So 4 into 3, as you can tell, 12. Similarly, again it will call recursively. I have got 4 3 12. Next it will again reduce the 3 into 2. So 12 2s of 24. Again to reduce 2 to 1. So 1 again, 24 into 1 is 1. So 1 minus 1 is 0, and the condition become false. It will come out of the, it will just return the output. So my final output will be the factorial of 4 is 24. So this is how a recursive function will work. So in this example, the cals underscore factorial is called a recursive function because it calls itself in the same function. So there is one more function called Python lambda functions. So lambda function is nothing but functions which don't have a name anything, which have defined any, is not defined any name for those functions. We'll call a lambda function. So by using this lambda keyword, we can create a functions. So we'll see how to do that. The syntax for this, we have to give a lambda of, we have to write any that a function what it will do as argument and expression. So we'll see with an example. So here I am using double is equal to lambda of x is to x star 2. So this is a simple lambda function. What it is doing means it is taking an input and it will just multiplying that input with 2 and giving as the output. This is the simple lambda function. It don't have any name. So if I but I have stored it in using a variable double. So if I call this function like print double of 5 means what it will do means it will take this 5, the lambda function 5 into 2 it will do. So my final output will be 10. That output will be stored in double. So my final output will be 10. So this is how a lambda function will work. So at last we have Python user defined functions. So these are user defined functions are nothing but which are defined by user and used in the program. So user himself can define any function and use it repeatedly, or for reuse he can make use of these functions. To do that, we have to use the keyword def. So what is the advantage of using this user defined function means they like mainly helps to like decompose the larger programs to smaller programs. Like we can split our entire big program into smaller functions program. So we can easily call like repeated codes in as a reuse function. So it will like help to understand easily, and debugging also. We can find out the errors easily using these user defined functions. or we like whenever a same code will be using in the like big program, we are making use of small function repeatedly. So in those cases we need not to write them again. So by writing function once, we can call it many times in the big programs also. So we'll discuss with some examples. So the syntax for this, we have to use the keyword def. So function name, here argument we have to give. So after this, some set of statements we have to give. So for example, we have taken def add underscore numbers is the function, user defined function. So for the arguments, what I have taken is x comma y. So what it will do is as simple as function which is doing addition of two numbers. So here after collecting these two arguments, I am doing sum is equal to x plus y, adding those two numbers, saving the output in sum. So after that, I am returning sum. This is the simple user defined function. Here initially I have taken num1 is equal to 5, num2 is equal to 6. So I am passing this num1 and num2 by calling this user defined function. So the sum is add underscore number. I am calling the function. I am passing the two parameters, that is num1 and num2. So this num1 and num2 is respectively stored in x and y. So my final output will be like 5 plus 6 is equal to 11 stored in sum. So I am returning sum. So 11 will be come out as a return. So my final output will be the sum is 11. That's it. This is how a simple user defined function will work. Whenever you want to perform addition of when you are using this function repeatedly in a program, you can make it as a function and you can reuse it easily. While writing once, you can use it many times. So this is a user defined function. Like the main is important syntax is you have to remember this def keyword in order to create user defined functions. So these are the different 4 types of functions available in Python. So next we'll discuss about Python classes and objects. What is a Python class and what is object? A class in Python is nothing but you can call it as a blueprint from where a specific object are created. Like if we call animal as a class means if we take dog, cat, so these are the which are the types of animals. So that can be called as an object. So that is a class in a general. So we'll discuss with an example. You will get a clarity about it. So in general, if we consider, classes will not exist they will not exist in the reality. So they are only a logical group. Only the object will exist in a reality. So we after creating a class, if we can access the attribute of the class by creating the object of that class. So we will discuss with an example. You will get clarity about it. So this is the syntax for creating a class. We have to use the keyword class, and after that you have to give a class name. Means after that there is a set of statements you have to execute. So for example, here I have created a class called class person. So here I created a person class. Here I have used a function def underscore init underscore. What this function will do means it will it will take some of the argument and it will assign it to a particular whenever we create an object of that particular class. So in this example, I have taken init as self comma name comma age comma number. What it will do means I have taken self dot name is equal to name, self dot age is equal to age, self dot number is equal to number. So here you can see, in order to create a class of that object of that, I am using p1 is equal to person of class. I am passing the parameters. So this Kiran 23, as you can see, name, age and number I am passing. So these passed values, what it will do is these passed values will go to here, and this self dot name, at the place of name the Kiran will be stored, at self dot age will be stored, self dot number will be stored. So this self will be replaced with this p1. So in order to replace this easily, in order to create multiple objects, we can make use of inbuilt function, that is underscore init of underscore. So this self will be replaced with whenever we create an object. So this is how this class and object creation will work. So if I have to print a person name means I have to print object p1 dot name. If I print p1 dot name, what my output will be like Kiran. And if I print p1 dot age, the age of that person will be printed. Similarly, p1 dot number will be printed. Similar way, if we create p2 is equal to person of another parameter, if we give, and if we use a p2 of p2 as another object, if we print p2 of name, age, so different values will get as output. So this is how a class will be declared, and we can access the elements of the class using this dot operator. So what are the objects in Python class? I have discussed about a class. As I told, an object can be used to access the different attributes of a class. We can create an instance of a object is nothing but to create an instance of a class is nothing but an called as an object. For example, I told a dog is an object of the animal class, or you can see in the picture this, they have taken a telephone as a general telephone as a class, but in this there are different types of the rotary, like a rotary phone, a touch tone phone, cellular phone. So these are the different objects of that class phone. So this is how a class and object means what. So we'll see how to like create a new object of a class. So in this example, I have taken class, created class as person. I have taken attribute age is equal to sen. So here I have defined a function that is def greet of self. So print hello. What it will do means every time I create an object, the self will be refreshed with created object and it will printed hello. I can access it easily. So to create a new object of that person class, just have to call that person class. So here I have taken Hari is equal to person, so that name Hari person will be created, object of Hari. So if in order to access this age, I am using Hari dot greet means here like Hari dot age means if I do print of Hari dot age means this age will be assigned to like Hari. So my output will be 10. In order to access like attributes present in a class, we have to create instance of that class and we can access those elements. Like we can also access the functions present in the class classes. So here there is a function I have told greet. So in order to access that, I have to use array dot just greet of, if I use, my final output will be hello. So like that you can access elements present in a class attributes using by creating a class object of that class. So next we will discuss about file handling in Python. Generally file handling is nothing but how to open a file, close the file, and how to write a data into a file is nothing but file handling. We will do this file handling in Python also. There are different file handling operations, as I told, opening a file, to write, appending and writing to a file. We can close a file like that. These are the different file handling operations. We'll see one by one. First we'll see how to open a file in Python. Like the opening of a function is nothing but which are already stored. We have some files in our system. In order to open those files using Python, have to use this function, that is the main parameter. What it will took means there are mainly we can open a files in 4 different modes. One is R, as you can see. R is nothing but if you want to just to read a file means you can make use of this R as a parameter. You can open a file in different modes. This read mode you can open. There's a W is nothing but if you want to like write anything into a file means you can make use of W. Or if you want to like writing means if you are not going to write everything from that file. So there is an option called A. What this A means, if you want to append, like if there is previously some data is available, if you want to add some extra data for that, you can make use of this append. You can open file in append mode. Or there is one mode called X. What is X means, it will create a file means in order to create a new file we can make use of the X. There are additional modes also we can use, that is T. You can see like in order to like add a text you can make use of this T. Like in order to default values, text file means in order to open a text file you can make use of this T. And B means in order to open a binary file you can make use of this P mode. So mainly to open any file, the inbuilt function is open of. Inside a file which you have to open given as a parameter, and second parameter is mode, in which mode you have to open. So this is a general syntax for opening a file. For example, you can see here I open a file name called myfile. It is an image. So I have opened that image in a read mode. As it is an image, it is in a binary format, so RB I have given as a mode. So this is how you can open a file in Python. So you see how to writing to a file. Like in order to write into a file, have to open the file in a writing mode. So if you want to enter some text means you have to open in a write text mode. So here, as you can see in the example, FP is equal to open. I have opened a file called Mifratech.txt file. For that I have to enter I have to write some text. So I am using W2 as a mode. So after that here I am writing some of the data in that. After that we can close the file. So after opening a file, closing the file is very important. For that inbuilt function ft.closeoff will close the functions. Similar way we can like in the next example I have opened a binary file. So in order to open a binary file in order to write some data into binary file, you have to use the mode WB. After that I am writing some of the binary data to like ft dot write off. Like after opening in the writing mode, to write the data we have to make use of this inbuilt function write. So ft dot write off. So I am binary data 1 to 3 I am adding to that data. So after writing the data we will close the file. So this is how you can open a file in writing mode and you can write the data into main. So this Mifratech.text, I am writing the text. As you can see, Mifratech is a platform for developing market based skills. So this text will be added to Mifratech.txt a file. So we'll see how to append, like when already if we have some text in the file, in order to add extra data to file we'll make use of this appending. For that first we have to open the file in appending mode. I have like this, in this example I am adding the text, so I am opening the file in AT mode, means nothing but I am appending the text to the data. After that, in order to write the text I have to make use of write function ft.writeUp. See, I am appending something to it, so this data I will be appended to Mifratech. There is already some data present in the Mifratech. After that this extra data will be added to that. After that we will close the file. So this is how we can add some data into a file. So after the opening the file we have to close the file. To close the file, as I told earlier, we have to use a close off function. So here I have, in this example I have opened the file Mifratech in appending texting mode. To close the mail, ft.closeoff, this command will close this already opened file. So these are the different file operations we can see in Python. So thank you for watching the video.